This video is on the rhetoric of color and how color creates meaning. First, I'd like you to get out a scrap of paper and something to write with. Pause the video for a second, go get those things. As the next few screens pop up and you see the color, what I'd like you to do is just jot down the first words that pop into your head. You'll have 10 seconds to just scribble down a couple of words, and then I want you to compare those to what discussion follows the blank screens. Once you're ready, go ahead and hit play again. First color is red. Black. Yellow. Blue. Orange. Brown. Purple. Green. Okay, so put your pen down and compare what you have on your list to what is on these screens. So the first color, red. Red is actually studied more than any other color because of the various associations with it. For one, and most importantly, I think, is that it represents excitement and danger and bloodshed. The fight or flight emotion in us is enabled when we see the color red. So it's used to get attention. It's used for warning signals. It creates a raise in our blood pressure and our adrenaline even. It has actual very strong physiological reactions, creates those reactions in our bodies. So red is a very important color. It's studied a lot. It has a lot of energy to it. Physically, it literally, in the spectrum of colors, has the most energy. It contains the most energy because of heat. Thus, it is also used when you want to evoke sex, or it's used to sell sex. However, it is not cross-cultural. If you think about the various ways that we use red in our American culture, you would be surprised to know that in some Asian cultures, brides wear red as a celebratory color and a color of purity. So it's one of those colors that is means certain things in certain cultures and not necessarily some in others. Black. So black is one of the most psychological colors because of the various things that it connotes and what it represents. It has often and historically been associated with grief, which we're all familiar with, but today's associations with black are much more sophisticated. It's considered a color of power and elegance. Thus, black limousines, black suits, black ties, all of those things are considered elegant and sophisticated and elements of power. It's, if you have an urban audience or you want to appeal to the elite, you would use black. It is, however, also not cross-cultural. In America, black, the good guy wears the black hat, or the bad guy wears the black hat, the good guy wears the white hat, right? Black is associated with evil. But in Asian cultures and in the Far East, black is associated with good and white with evil. So it does a complete opposite flip in other cultures. So it's one of those things to remember if you ever want to appeal to a cross-cultural audience. Yellow does cross cultures, however, because of its association with the sun. So to everyone, the sun is yellow, and it has that very upbeat, positive, enthusiastic, happy association with it. Yellow is always considered to be a happy and positive color. The paler yellows, the lighter ones, are considered very tranquil and inviting. They're used a lot in babies' rooms because yellow is soft. It invites this feeling of warmth and butteriness. But bright yellow is literally the most visible color in the spectrum. So it's used a lot for warning signals, and it really grabs your attention, especially if the background is a cool color like a blue or a green, because yellow is the warmest color. So if it's got the blue and green background, the yellow really stands out in our vision, and the blue or the greens retreat to the back of our vision. Blue is actually the opposite of red on the spectrum. So it has the exact opposite effects of red. So it always is associated with things like serenity and tranquility and calm. In Feng Shui, it's used to decorate homes if you want to have a home that exudes calmness and serenity. It's also obviously associated with the sky and the water, so it's considered a very natural color. But it also has the associations of dependability and constancy, so it's used a lot in business. A lot of businesses use various shades of blue to evoke that sense of dependability. Orange, because it adopts both qualities of red and yellow, it has both things going on. So it has the excitement of red, but the warmth and good cheer of yellow. So it's often used for very upbeat celebrations, and it's popular with children, but it has a very wide spectrum of colors. It has the widest spectrum of all the hues, and it goes from a brilliant neon to a really soft sort of brick terracotta color. So because of this wide spectrum of hues, it's often misused, and it's often misunderstood or thought to mean something that it does not. So orange can be kind of tricky. Interestingly enough, it's very often used for things like hurricane relief, which people who have studied color have often wondered why. So, you know, I don't know if it's exciting or warm in hurricane relief. Okay, brown. Brown has a lot of very interesting associations. It's obviously both associated with earth and dirt. So if you think of what we walk on as earth, it is a positive association. But if you think about it as dirt, it has a negative association. So brown has that sort of mixed association with it. But it's also associated with things like chocolate and coffee now, or fur and dark woods. So it has these sort of delicious, luxurious qualities to it that can be evoked if you use the right hues of brown. It also evokes feelings of wholesomeness and home and comfort. So brown is also a very homey, comfortable color. Purple is actually the most complex color because it contains both the heat and excitement of red and the cool, calm effect of blue. So because you're putting together both the hot and the cool, it creates a very complex color. It needs to be used carefully. This particular purple right here leans more towards the blue, so it's more calming. If you add more reds to the purple, it becomes hotter and more sensuous. So you really need to think about the shade of purple you're using and what sort of sense it will evoke. We're all familiar with this idea that purple has been associated with royalty, and the only reason is because back when things first were dyed and they used various dyes, purple was taken from a very specific shellfish in the ocean, and it was very rare and hard to come by because it didn't turn up in nature. So they used that purple dye from those sea creatures, and it was hard to come by, so it was very expensive. That's why it's associated with royalty. But purple now is a good choice when you want to target creativity, creative types, non-traditional. You want to break the mold and go into a different vein. But it is becoming more popular with just regular commercial products as well. If you can think of like the purple pill or things like that, it's becoming significantly more popular. Green, of course, is associated with nature. So we even use the word green as a sort of adjective, like going green, or an adverb. We're going green, or green is associated with things like recycling and taking care of our planet. And it has these fresh and cleansing connotations with it. No matter whether it leans towards the blues or the yellows, it evokes both. It is the most often cited favorite color by consumers. Research has been done, and green is the most popular favorite color. It has that sort of fresh, calm sense to it, and it really works well to connote things like health and freshness. So if that's what you're going for, then green is the way to go. Okay, so I wanted to just bring this up. Do you notice anything about these particular fast food restaurants? Notice the color scheme in all of them. And the only one that tends to be the little rule breaker there is Taco Bell, which goes towards the purple. But they have found that when you combine red and yellow, it makes people hungry. I don't know why, but it clearly is a thing, because look at all of the people who have jumped on the yellow and red, we want you to come eat at our restaurant bandwagon. Okay, so here's why this is important. Color is rhetorical. It has meaning, it creates meaning, and people react to it in various ways. You have 1.7 seconds to catch the attention of someone who is looking at your design. If you do a poster or a video or anything, we live in a digital age. They have studied, you have 1.7 seconds before people click on something else. So color will grab attention, and that's what you want to go for. So you really need to think about how your audience will respond to color, what kinds of things will be connoted from that color, and why it really matters. So it's important too to avoid having a design with too many colors. Anything with too many colors evokes all sorts of emotions and crazy thoughts, and you want to keep it simple. If you have too few colors, then it only evokes one emotion, and it gets a little boring, right? So 2 or 3 colors is very often as many as you really want in any kind of project. And you really want to have that right combination for the right rhetorical effect. So an overview: red, excitement, energy, danger, and sex. Orange, excitement and cheer, festivity. Yellow, cheer, most attention getting, happiness. Green, nature, freshness, calm, and health. Blue, serenity, tranquility, professionalism. Purple is sensuous yet cool, royal, creativity. Black is associated with grief, sophistication, power, and elegance. And brown with earth, chocolate, richness, and reliability. And the music was Adagio for Strings by Samuel Barber.